Sir, I am Marcy Cruz and we are the Group 9 and we will discuss Lesson 18 and Lesson 19. I will now start the discussion of globalization of technology. Lesson objectives. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to define technology, discuss theories of technology diffusion, describe the digital phenomena, and lastly, determine the advantage and disadvantage of technological globalization. Globalization of technology. This slide explains that technology has many definitions according to different scholars. Some of those describe it as tools or system or knowledge. Despite the different definition, this slide concludes that technology is simply a means or a technique of doing things better by using tools and knowledge. Historically, we can glean that technological advancement has trodden a long, winding, and often turbulent road, a process commonly referred to as Industrial Revolution, wherein humanity has found a way to maximize the available resources that they can tap toward the advancement of their aspiration, individually and collectively. And Priskaru, as cited by Xu, David, and Kim, summarized that Industrial Revolution and divided the era into four. And the first Industrial Revolution, where people used coal as their primary source of energy and created the steam engine. And the second Industrial Revolution, where people discovered oil and electricity and designed the internal combustion engine. And the third revolution, where computers and robots are the main achievement, where nuclear energy and natural gas were found as potential sources of energy. And lastly, the current era, focusing on maximizing the use of green energies amidst the proliferation of the internet. According to Klaus Schwab, has used the term Fourth Industrial Revolution to refer to the era when people navigate between their online and offline selves. In this era of industrialization, people can expect the following. The first one is emergence of creators and entrepreneurs, where technology allows us to create more and produce our ideas. The second one is artificial intelligence. The third one is fusion, or the integration of discipline. The fourth one is robotics, where more daring inventions that are geared toward making our lives more efficient. And the fifth one is internet, where most of us has used this nowadays. And the sixth one is the changes in job market in terms of competencies and required people, and in terms of preference for machines than people in tasks that are performable by robots, where machines may replace some tasks and workers must learn new skills. And the seventh one is changes in nature of threats and vulnerability, where cybersecurity issues has become more reliant to digital technologies. And the eighth one is the changes in the way we do things. It is the changes in habits, daily routines, because technology alters how we communicate, work, and learn. And the ninth one is the anticipated impacts to basic services and sectors like education, health, and environment, where unexpected effects on services in those institutions or environments. Technological diffusion and globalization. In the age of globalization, technology also flows in and out across borders. This process can be referred as technology diffusion. It is essential to look at the technology diffusion because the inflow and outflow of technology is simultaneous to economic, political, and cultural flows. According to the diffusion of innovators, DOI theory, some would try new technologies even if they are still crudely developed. Some examples are some beta users of newly developed apps or users of the first generation technologies. Others would adopt earlier than the average users but would need some systematic support to be able to navigate using a new technology, and those they are called early adopters. But then there are those few who are skeptical and would rather use tried and tested methods and tools, and they are called laggards. And this graph shows how the innovators, early adopters, early majority, and late majority, and laggards use or adapt to new technology over time. Nowadays, we also hear the term digital natives, which refers to the people who have been accustomed to digital technologies. There are also those who referred to as the digital immigrants, people who were not born into digital world but are coping and adapting new technologies.
So now, let's proceed about technological trends in the age of globalization. So first, I'm going to tackle about the information and communication. So today, our generation is that malaki ang nagiging epekto pagdating sa technology, sa paraan ng pakikipag-communicate natin sa isa't isa, sa mga tao, ganun. And isa sa mga important things ng development ay yung Internet of Things o IoT, kung saan may iba't ibang devices na nakakonekta sa internet at kayang makipag-communicate sa isa't isa. Dahil dito, mas nagiging madali yung process at mas nagiging reliable ang interaction ng bawat tao sa teknolohiya, lalo na sa mahalagang sektor gaya ng transportation, healthcare, security, and also education. So, the example for this is about sa estudyanteng nandito sa Pilipinas. Pwede siyang mag-attend ng online tutoring kasama ang teacher niya na nasa Canada, because through internet nakikipag-communicate tayo sa ibang tao kahit na malayo, at kaya nagkakaroon ng real-time interaction dahil sa modern communication technology. So now, let's move forward to the transportation. So, sa paglipas ng panahon, nagiging mas reliable at mas mura ang air travel dahil sa mabilis na pag-unlad ng aviation technology. Kumbaga, mas marami ng tao ang nagkakaroon ng opportunity bumiyahe sa malalayong bansa or distansya kumpara noong nakaraang generation. Ayon kay Martin, may 4 na pangunahing developments sa aviation technology na nagpapaunlad sa buong industry. So, una, ito ay ang digital twin, na isang digital or virtual na kopya ng totoong aircraft engine. Dahil dito, mas madaling mamomonitor ang performance ng aircraft at makikita agad kung may problema bago pa ito lumala. And sa pangalawa naman po, ginagamit na rin ang artificial intelligence or AI para sa predictive maintenance, kung saan kayang hulaan ng system kung ano ang issue na pwedeng mangyari dun sa aircraft para maagapan agad and hindi na humantong sa malalang sitwasyon. And also, sa pangatlo, malaki rin ang naitulong ng mobile computing sa aviation. Ito ay ang paggamit ng mobile devices at apps para sa flight operations, data access, at communication sa loob ng industry. Kaya, mas mabilis ang trabaho at mas organized ang procedures. And then, last but not the least, ginagamit na rin ang drones sa aircraft maintenance. Sa halip na umakyat pa yung tao sa taas ng eroplano na yon, ginagamit nila yung drone para i-inspect at mas gawing safe yung mga sumasakay ng eroplano and mas maging efficient. So, halimbawa po nito is bago po lumipad ang isang airplane, gumagamit ng maintenance team ng drones para i-check ang ibabaw ng eroplano para mas mabilis nila makikita kung may sira, kaya hindi naaantala ang flight at mas nagiging safe ang biyahe ng bawat passengers. And now, for the architecture, energy, and the environment. So, sa panahon ngayon, lumalakas ang movement toward green architecture dahil sa lumalalang problema sa environment. Maraming tao ang nakakapansin na nasa tipping point na ang ating environment. Ibig sabihin, anumang patuloy na pagkasira na ginagawa natin ay posibleng bumalik sa atin bilang mas malalang epekto tulad ng climate change, natural disasters, and also the pollution. So, dahil dito, nagiging mas aware ang mga tao at mga bansa sa pangangailangan ng environment-friendly infrastructures na mas sustainable at hindi nakakasira sa kalikasan. So, kasabay ang green architecture, tumataas din ang interest sa green energy or renewable energy sources. Kabilang dito ang wind power, hydropower, geothermal energy, at solar power. Ang paggamit ng renewable energy ay nakakatulong para mabawasan ang paggamit ng fossil fuels at mapababa ang carbon emissions na nagdudulot ng global warming. Dahil sa matinding environmental issues, mas may lumilitaw din bagong uri ng currency na tinatawag na carbon credits. Ito ang itinatakdang limitation kung gaano karaming carbon emission ang pwedeng ilabas ng isang bansa. Kapag hindi nila naubos ang kanilang carbon allowance, maaari nila itong gamitin sa carbon trade kung saan pwedeng ibenta o ipahiram ang sobra nilang credit sa ibang bansa na lumampas doon sa limits nila. So, sa madaling salita po, nagbabago ang direksyon ng mundo tungo sa mas sustainable na pamumuhay natin at mas nagiging responsable na paghawak sa environment na meron tayo. So, example po is isang bagong infrastructure sa isang lungsod ay gumagamit ng solar panels at rainwater harvesting system. Dahil dito, mas mababa ang energy consumption at mas nagiging konti ang basura sa tubig. Sa kapalit nito, nakakatulong silang bumaba ng carbon emission sa kanilang community. So now, let's move forward to commerce. Sa mga nagdaang taon, nagkaroon ng maraming bagong business models dahil sa mabilis na pag-unlad ng ating technology. Maraming entrepreneurs na naglilipat ng kanilang negosyo through electronics or online platforms. Kaya naman, nabuo ang tinatawag na e-commerce. Dahil dito, nagiging posible na bumili at magbenta gamit ang mga online platforms like Lazada, Shopee, and also Amazon na nagbibigay ng mas mabilis, mas convenient, at mas malawak na market reach para sa mga negosyante. Kahit ang mga businesses na may physical stores ay nagtatayo na rin ng kanilang online shops upang mas marami silang customers at para makasabay sila sa digital economy. Kasabay nito, ginagamit na rin ng mga negosyo ang social media platforms gaya ng Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram bilang marketing tools. Sa pamamagitan ng mga platform na ito, mas madali nilang nai-engage ang customers, nakakapag-promote sila ng products, at nakakabuo sila ng brand awareness. Sa kabuuan, ang pag-shift ng negosyo papunta sa digital space ay nagbibigay ng mas maraming opportunities, mas malawak na audience, at mas malawak na paraan ng pagbebenta at pagbibili. So, one of the example po nito is isang maliit na clothing shop na dating nasa palengke lang ay nagbukas ng online stores sa Shopee at gumamit ng Facebook page para i-promote ang kanilang products. Dahil dito, sila ng customers mula sa iba't ibang bansa or lugar ng Pilipinas, hindi lang sa lokal na komunidad, ay umunlad at mas naging malawak ang kanyang kinikita. And for now, let's move on to space science. Simula pa nung unang space exploration noong 1960s, malaki na ang pinagbago ng space technology dahil sa patuloy na nag-i-invest ang bansa sa research. Ayon sa NASA, noong 2018, may mga plano sila sa mga susunod na taon. Una, alamin kung posible bang mabuhay ang tao sa Mars. Pangalawa, mag-explore ng mas malapit sa Sun. Pangatlo, pag-aralan ang Moon ng Jupiter. Pang-apat, magpadala ng tao sa mas malalim na bahagi ng space. At panghuli, gumawa ng mas advanced na navigation tools para sa space missions. So, pati ang Pilipinas ay nakikisabay na rin sa pag-unlad ng space technology. Nag-launch tayo ng Diwata 1 noong 2016 at Diwata 2 noong 2018. Ang mga microsatellites na ito ay ginagamit sa Earth observation para makatulong sa climate natin, sa weather monitoring, and also sa disaster management. So, ayon sa Philippines Microsat, ang programang ito ay unang hakbang para makabuo ang Pilipinas ng sarili nitong space agency. So, one of the example for this is gamit ang Diwata satellites, mas mabilis na tutukoy ng Pilipinas ang bagyo at pagbaha. Kaya mas napapaghandaan ng mga tao yung sakuna. And now, for last but not the least, AI, robots, and nanotechnology. Sa modernong panahon, nakikita natin na kaya na ng technology na gayahin o stimulate ang ilang kakayahan ng tao gamit ang computers at machine. Ito ang tinatawag na artificial intelligence or mas kilala sa tinatawag nating AI. Naging malaking usapan ng AI nang ipakilala si Sophia bilang isang humanoid robot. Dahil dito, maraming nagtatanong kung ano ang magiging direction ng bawat tao sa panahon ng AI. And ang mga bagay na dati ay nasa movies lang or imagination ng tao, ngayon ay nagiging possible na. Gamit ang nanotechnology, kaya na nating manipulahin or manipulate ang napakaliit na particles sa atomic or molecular level. Dahil dito, pwede na ring lumikha ng nanoparticles na kayang pumasok sa living cells at magdala ng gamot sa tamang bahagi ng katawan. Kunyari, for example, may mga nanoparticles ngayon na tumutulong maghatid ng cancer or cancer medicine direct sa cancer cells para mas mabilis ang treatment at mas kaunti yung side effects.
Good day, sir. Will be present the globalization of lifestyle, the lesson 19. So, ayun, dito muna tayo sa objectives. Kung ano nga ba yung matututunan natin sa lesson 19. Number 1, to describe common trends in the globalization of food, arts, music, fashion, and other lifestyle elements, and to discuss the issue and concern that come with globalization lifestyle. So, sa first slide, understanding lifestyle. To begin, lifestyle is broad and multi-dimensional concept. It refers to the way every day your habits, your choice, behavior, what factor influence them individually as a group. Dito po sa first slide, ito yung sa lifestyle natin na kumbaga yung ginagawa natin na habits natin. Kumbaga choice daw natin yun na ganun yung maging lifestyle natin kasi nakaka-apekto talaga yung globalization doon. So, according to Michael Jensen perspective, according sa kanya, lifestyle should be understood in pluralistic way. That's mean the lifestyle cut across many aspects of the life can be defined as the live and do things include the factors that keep us healthy, reflects your consumption and behavior. Because this lifestyle complex, Jansen suggests that analyzing it at different level to understand it fully. So, so ngayon, according to Anthony Bell, sa kanyang perspective, meron daw another way na analyze the lifestyle by breaking it down into 7 dimensions. Dito sa activities or behavior, kung ano daw yung ginagawa mo everyday. Sa number 1. Sa number 2, attitudes and values. Kung ano yung, kumbaga, di ba, mayroon kang lifestyle, kumbaga, naniniwala yung tao dun. Ganon. Sa individual process, kumbaga, dito, may motivation ka para sa lifestyle mo. Ganon. Sa 4, group process. How peers, kumbaga, nakaka-apekto yung family and society sa lifestyle mo. Ganon. Ano daw yun, according kay Anthony Bell perspective. Sa 5, coherence. How consistent these lifestyle elements are. Kumbaga, consistent ba daw yung lifestyle mo na ganon? Recognizability. How identifiable a lifestyle is. Sa 7, choice. That freedom, kumbaga freedom mo daw na piliin yung lifestyle mo. Kumbaga, kung ano yung gusto mo, ganun. Kung, di ba, na-influensyan ka nilang ng pamilya mo or society. Kumbaga, nasa sa'yo na yun. So, globalization, lifestyle trend. Now, it's learned how globalization affect lifestyle trends in your community around the world. Globally allows ideas, product, and cultural practice to move equally across countries because of this certain lifestyle trends become shared globally. Kumbaga, di ba, dito sa atin, naghanap na yung cellphone. Kumbaga, kung ano yung trend sa ibang bansa, nakukuha na rin natin. Kumbaga, yung lifestyle nila. Nagpupuyat sila, ganun. Siyempre, nakukuha na rin natin yun. Kumbaga, yung lifestyle ng ibang tao, nakukuha natin. Kumbaga, kahit anong bansa, ganun. Kasi trend siya. Kaya panay ang TikTok mo kada hapon, ganun. So, ayun lang po yung part ko, sir.
Hi everyone, I am Juana Rica Armuliada and I will discussing about globalization of lifestyle. So, let's start about food. The food Philippines is inherently as agricultural country. Its biodiversity the high which entails that there are opportunity also to diversify food choice, food and much as it is a basic needs. It's also cultural. Much of our cultural heritage can be claimed. from the food we prefer, the food we eat and serve show much about our economic activities, our household practice, the resources we have, and the nature and integrity of social ecological system we are in. So next, globalization, however, has also brought along with it significant shift in our world's food system and dietary patterns, especially in areas of one, food access, two, food availability, and three, food quality. In later lesson, we will discuss the concept of food security, a major concept to look into in the globalist world at a macro and more systematic level. In this lesson, however, our aims is to focus on the observable change and trends. Elizabeth Black, in her work on globalization of the food industry, identified the following influence to change in food and dietary patterns. First is urbanization, where more people are occupying more urban areas away from their traditional home, setting those paving way for the rise of fast food. Second is for foreign investment, where an important and export of processed food are being made available to territories, altering traditional food consumption pattern. Food is all about diet are connected globally, offering year-round variety like strawberries in winter via international trade, but also leading to more processed food, fast food, loss of traditional food, and increased food miles, creating both culinary diversity and new health environment challenge, forcing consumers to make conscious choice, balanced with cultural identity and sustainability. Music. Music is a valuable manifestation of our objective aesthetic experience to play a significant part in our daily life, either as a form of expression or experiencing emotion, ideas, and realities that are important to us. In the age of globalization, Gaban 2014 opens the ease of contact among musical tradition and foster modality in as much as it brings forth friction, acquired unequal and sustainability and creative. Sing 2005 state when something difficult. So, music is all about emotion and comfort for someone and realization. Sports. In the contemporary world, sport has been widely recognized as an important aspect of life. Hartoi 2014, this particular activity, just like any other, also play a role in the larger mantle of globalization. Whiteson 2014 explained that in one way or another, sport become a platform for identity for nation among nation. Similarly, the present of attracts increasing participation and audience from people across the globe, also show how sporting events can operate on a global scale. Sports act as platforms for nation identity, cultural flow, spreading games like soccer and basketball worldwide, creating shared global fandoms. Data and the right technology, people and institute today can still solve hard problems and change the world for the better.